Also, while I was gone, there's been a perennial debate online, and it flared up again after Elon Musk tweeted that we, meaning the U.S., will coup whoever we want. He tweeted that in response to someone mentioning the Bolivian coup. He's like, "Yeah, we will coup whoever we want." And so this reignited a perennial debate that has been active on Twitter basically since the coup in Bolivia. And I just want to give my thoughts on this now that we're removed from the coup in Bolivia. It's moved on to a new stage of Bolivian history where there's active resistance against the coup government. And hopefully the elections will bring in a Moss, which is Evo Morales' party, a Moss candidate as president. Here's hoping, but let's reflect back a little bit. So some people say the coup in Bolivia was for lithium, in a similar way that the Iraq War was for oil. And then some other people say that the coup was not for lithium, and in fact, most lithium is produced in Australia. So here are my thoughts on it. The Bolivian coup was not for lithium crowd has, I'd say, a straightforward way of thinking about the world economy, because they see it as a binary. Either the coup was for lithium or it wasn't. But I don't think anyone is claiming the coup was solely for lithium. We have to remember that lithium production is currently up over 7 times what it was in 2000. It's rising very quickly, and I'm assuming will probably continue to rise quickly. And even though it's true that most current lithium production is in Australia, as much as 75% of the world's lithium is in what's called the lithium triangle, which is where Chile, Bolivia, and Argentina meet. So when people say the Bolivian coup was for lithium, it gets perceived as a much more simplistic argument than it really is. It's about the broader trends of material wealth and history. So it's not like Elon Musk personally conducted a coup to get his grubby hands on all the lithium. It's not that simple. But the U.S. imperialist capitalist machine is always working to align the world's resources to feed into that machine. The U.S. sees a poor country developing under an elected socialist leader, and they want to swoop in and redirect that country's resources towards the United States. Currently, Australia does most of the current lithium production, like I said. But capitalism always seeks cheaper production. That's pretty common sense. That's why we have all our clothes are made in Bangladesh, and all our this are made in that, and blah, blah, blah. Bolivia is rich with minerals that capitalism will seek more and more as time goes on, and it would be much easier for American capitalists to employ Bolivian workers for much cheaper than Australian workers. When people say the Bolivian coup was for lithium, they're making a broader claim that isn't specifically about lithium. So imagine this situation, and I think it spells out my point perfectly. Imagine someone said, "We invaded Afghanistan because it's rich in minerals." That isn't actually true. We did not invade Afghanistan because it's rich in minerals. But it alludes to a bigger truth. The U.S. invaded Afghanistan to establish a pseudo-colony. I mean, technically we invaded it to capture Osama bin Laden, but we didn't actually do that while we were there. It wasn't until later, it wasn't until later, and I mean that's a whole other thing. I'm not even gonna get into Osama bin Laden, but we invaded Afghanistan to establish a pseudo colony and used the resources of that pseudo colony to benefit the U.S. The United States' pseudo colony, Afghanistan, also happens to be very lucrative. Afghanistan is very rich in minerals, as well as opium, as well as the list goes on. Geopolitical realignment, like invasions and coups, are never done for specifically one reason or one resource. Even when the U.S. assassinated Gaddafi, it was clearly for oil because Gaddafi intended to take Libyan oil off the petrodollar. Same with Saddam Hussein. So while these invasions and assassinations were for oil, they were also to destabilize power centers in the Middle East and therefore gain more power in geopolitical positioning. Instead, the way these realignments work is they benefit defense contractors.
What?
Which in turn benefits American politicians.
What?
Which in turn helps the pharmaceutical industry.
What?
Which in turn helps right-wing and far-right political actors.
What?
Which in turn benefits tech manufacturers.
What?
And so on. You have to think about things like this as being a place where interests intersect and overlap for different reasons. There is no one reason for anything. Something as big as completely changing the government of a country, that requires many people with many different interests, many different things to gain, etc. So I'll just leave it at that. That's my thoughts on not only the coup in Bolivia, but I guess coups in general for the most